Video script. She inherited nothing, or so they thought. Approximately 1,050 words / approximately 7 minutes. The chair was already moved, not dramatically, not obviously, just repositioned. Pushed to the back corner of the room, angled slightly away from the table, as if someone had bumped it there by accident. Adaeze Ellison-Maye looked at it, then at her sister Corinna, who was already seated at the head of the table, portfolio open, reading glasses on, performing the role of a woman who had already handled everything. Adaeze sat in the corner chair. She did not move it back. That was the first thing Corinna did that morning. It would not be the last. Thaddeus Orim-Caulwell had been Sylvette Maye's attorney for 22 years. He had drawn up 3 wills, 2 business agreements, and 1 document he was not yet permitted to discuss. He arrived at his own office that morning to find Corinna already there, not waiting outside, but inside, seated, as though the office were a room she was lending him. He said nothing about it. The cousins arrived in pairs, 4 of them. They took the chairs nearest Corinna, the way people naturally orbit whoever seems most certain. They kissed her cheek. They said she was holding up so well. She received it all with the practiced grace of someone who had been rehearsing for this day. Adaeze arrived last, carrying nothing but a canvas tote and the quiet she always carried with her. She took the corner chair without being told. If anyone found that strange, they did not say so. Thaddeus cleared his throat. He was 3 words into the preamble when Corinna raised one hand. Thaddeus? Her voice was warm, practiced. I've already spoken with counsel. I know the broad strokes. For the family's sake, can we just move to the substance? He looked at her over his glasses for one long moment. Then he moved to the substance. Corinna Ellison-Maye, the house deed. Full title, no conditions. Control of the Maye Family Trust. Operational authority over Ellison-Maye Provisions, the dry goods business Sylvette had built over 30 years on Meridian Avenue. The one that still smelled like clove and brown paper on warm afternoons. The cousins exhaled. Someone murmured something approving. Thaddeus continued. Adaeze Ellison-Maye, personal correspondence and sentimental items as designated by the decedent. Corinna did not wait. Mom's journals, she said, turning slightly toward the cousins with a small, sorrowful smile. Her old scarves, things like that. Someone in the back row made a sound. Not quite a laugh, close enough. Adaeze received a slim manila folder from Thaddeus. The label read, Personal Correspondence. She tucked it under her arm without opening it. She did not look at Corinna. She did not look at the cousins. She looked at Thaddeus, briefly, and he looked back. And in that exchange, there was something the rest of the room did not catch, because the rest of the room was not paying attention to her. If you've ever been the person in the room that no one thought to watch, drop a 1 in the comments. You'll understand exactly what this moment felt like. The estate walkthrough was Corinna's idea. She moved through Sylvette's house the way a new owner moves, not cruelly, but with a particular kind of forward-facing attention, already measuring, already imagining. The cousins followed her from room to room. She pointed out the crown molding in the parlor. She mentioned the square footage. She said, "When I renovate," twice before anyone noticed. Adaeze walked behind all of them. In Sylvette's bedroom, while Corinna was in the hallway performing grief for the cousins, her voice carrying the particular music of public mourning, Adaeze stepped to her mother's nightstand. She opened the drawer. Inside, a prayer card. A folded grocery list in Sylvette's handwriting, and a small brass key on a plain ring, the kind that opens something specific, something small, something that requires knowing where to go. Adaeze looked at it for exactly 1 breath. Then she closed her hand around it and put it in her blazer pocket. Don't pocket junk from the nightstand, Ada. Corinna's voice, from the doorway. She had appeared without sound, the way people do when they are watching for exactly this kind of thing. Her expression was not angry. It was something quieter than that, the look of someone who has already won and finds the other person's small gestures faintly amusing. She turned away before Adaeze could respond. Adaeze stood still in the room for a moment after she left. On the dresser, Sylvette's photograph watched from its frame, cream kaftan, silver locks, tortoiseshell comb, and on her right hand, a thin gold signet ring. Identical, anyone might notice, to the one Adaeze wore. The same weight, the same plain band. The same quiet intention. No one that afternoon thought to ask why a mother would have a ring made for a daughter long before she died. and have it engraved with the daughter's initials, not her own. No one was paying attention to Adaeze. That is the thing about being underestimated. It is, occasionally, a gift. This channel exists for the people who believe the truth always surfaces. Not loudly, not on anyone else's timeline, but always. If that's the kind of story you need right now, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe. There are people who've been here from the beginning, and they already know what's coming for Adaeze. You should too. The cousins left with Corinna. There were plans for dinner. Someone mentioned a restaurant Sylvette had loved. Corinna said she would make a reservation. Adaeze said she had somewhere to be. She walked to her car alone, the manila folder still tucked under her arm, still unopened. She had carried it through the office, through the house, through the walkthrough, through Corinna's small theater of authority, and she had not opened it once in front of anyone. She set her tote on the ground. She stood in the late afternoon quiet. She opened the folder. She read whatever was inside. And she stopped walking entirely, though she was already still. It was a different kind of stillness, the kind that arrives when the ground shifts under something you thought was solid. One hand pressed flat against the car roof, not for drama, for steadiness. As Adaeze stands there in the quiet of that parking lot, folder open, the world Corinna has just claimed in that conference room still fresh, something has changed. Not loudly, not yet, but something. The brass key is in her pocket. The manila folder is in her hand. And Adaeze Ellison-Maye, who sat in the corner chair, who received the journals and the scarves, who said almost nothing all afternoon, stands very still beside her car, her face unreadable, as if she has just been shown the first corner of something much, much larger. The chair in the corner was meant to tell her where she stood. She sat in it anyway, and pocketed the one thing no one else thought to look for. Thanks for watching. The end screen has more. Go deeper there. Pick whichever video on the end screen calls to you. Every one belongs to people who believe the truth surfaces.